Hey guys, welcome to AG Sports. Uh, Thank you for sticking with me and for viewing this one. I will tell you right off the bat, this is not going to be another pick video. This is going to be more about the behind the scenes kind of stuff with betting online and what books you should look into, what to watch out for. A few things that I'm going to be covering here is which book you personally should go with, what's better for you, what kind of better are you, what's your betting side or unit size. But secondly, what what are the words and the terms you need to be looking for when it comes to opening a book online. So if you have never opened a book, or like a betting book that is, you would need to do a few things. So one, you got to find which one you're going to go with, but secondly, you need to have all of your information available. So you need like your driver's license, you're going to need a credit card, obviously all your personal info, because they're going to open this up, and it's going to be a lot like a bank account. They're going to have to verify you. One other piece of advice with that is when you open the account, they will ask you up front, most places will at least, if you want to verify your payout method. And that is, obviously when you're going to get paid out, how you're going to do it and who they're sending the money to. A lot of times, especially when I first started, I just totally skipped by that and wouldn't worry about it until it was time to take the money out. Do that up front. Do that right when you're opening the account. The reason I say that is it's going to take some time to get verified. It's going to take about 1 to 2 weeks for them to verify the info that you send. It's going to take, like I said, your driver's license, the front and back of your driver's license, whatever card you're using, if you're using a card, and they usually want like a utility bill to prove your address. So you got to send those things into them. Go to their customer service website. They take like 1 to 2 weeks to verify it, and then once you're there, then you can take the funds out. And you want to do that up front, because if you're waiting until whatever time or whatever amount to withdraw your funds, and you have not already done this, you're going to be waiting for 1 to 2 weeks just to get verified, and then you're going to wait like another week to get your money, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how you're doing it, to get the money out. The only way around the long wait would be through like crypto, like Bitcoin and stuff like that, and that has its own complications. But that being said, I just want to get that out of the way up front. And let's take a look at some of the books that I personally use and have used and feel comfortable with. The ones I'll be going over is Bookmaker, Bovada, BetOnline, and BetDSI. There's other ones out there like MyBookie.ag. And if you are in different areas, there's Five Dimes, and there is FanDuel and DraftKings. And so those three are all really great books, but you have to be in certain states to access them. So with Bookmaker, one of the first things we want to look at is the welcome bonus, and this is what we're going to look at for all of them. So the welcome bonus, it is 100% bonus if you deposit with cryptocurrency, but there is a 30 times rollover requirement, meaning that you have to bet whatever you deposited plus your bonus. So if you bet $100 plus $100 to give you a bonus, you have to bet that 30 times. So you have to bet $6,000 worth of wagers before you can withdraw anything. If you withdraw earlier than that, there's going to typically be a huge penalty. So some sort of fee is getting taken out. And a lot of times, if you have not reached that, they won't even let you withdraw. It doesn't matter how close you are. They'll say, nope, you need to wrap it up, finish it out. There's other ways you can get around that, but just be aware there's a huge rollover requirement for this particular book. BetOnline is a little bit better as far as their, if I could find it, as far as their welcome bonus, and it's Bovada. But BetOnline is 100% bonus for crypto, and it's a 50% bonus for sports. Theirs, I'll just tell you right now, is a 10 times rollover for the sports bonus, and that's a 50% bonus. So it's a little bit, or it is less of a bonus, but it's way less as far as the rollover is concerned. And that's, you got to remember that the rollover is basically the book's way of like ensuring they get their money's worth. So if you have 1 or 2 games that you feel really strongly about each week, that's great, but that's probably not going to reach that 30 times rollover requirement, which means that you're going to be kind of reaching out there and putting yourself on a ledge on some takes that you maybe don't feel really strongly about just to reach that requirement, or you're going to have to wait a long time until you get to this 30 times rollover because you're waiting for only the best picks, which is probably the way you should be playing, but you might not want to keep your money in this account for 1 year, for a full year, or for 2 years if you're waiting until the next season. So 10 times rollover is a little bit better. BetDSI has some really good rollover or some bonuses like this. And let me take a look here at this one. So their bonus structure, I believe, is 123% right now. There it is. So for BetDSI, it is 123%. As far as the bonus is concerned, I will tell you it is a 20 times rollover, though. So, I mean, it's not as bad as 30, but it's not exactly good either. Bovada is probably the best welcome bonus if you're really looking for the bonus. It's a 50% bonus, and it's only up to 250, so it's not as much as some of the others. Like I think BetDSI has like a $1,250 max. BetOnline has like a $1,000 max, and Bookmaker even has a $300 max. This one's only $250, but it's only a 5 times rollover. So unless you're depositing, like $1,000+ into this book, I'd probably be going with Bovada, especially if this is your first time. Bovada is probably the most user-friendly book, and a lot of times people who are just brand new to sports betting, excuse me, I kind of point them in this direction only because it is so user-friendly. It's easy to see all the numbers. It's easy to see how the line moves. It's a good introduction to kind of the process itself, but also into live betting when you get there. It's really, really clean and easy to get through. And some of the other books are not really easy to navigate. And then even when you get where you want to go, it's not as easy to read. I am looking at this on a laptop right now, but if you're looking at it on a phone, it's a lot tighter. A lot of these numbers are real scrunched in there, and they're so close to each other that when you're trying to make your pick, you'll hit like the wrong button. And if you're going too fast, or especially if you're live betting and you're not paying attention, you can hit the wrong number, the wrong odd, the wrong spread, the wrong whatever. So Bovada is the best, I think, for like newbies and for beginners, and it's probably the lowest as far as like fees and things are concerned as well. Take a look here. So with Bovada, their payout fee is pretty straightforward. So their fees, they're actually free for the most part. But what you'll notice is they are not gonna give like a direct deposit or like a wire or anything like that. This is going to be cryptocurrency. So if you are familiar with Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that kind of stuff, and you know how to get your funds out of there, great. It's free. It's awesome. And it's a $10 minimum for Bitcoin, so it's not like you need to have a bunch of money in there. Like I said, a lot of times this is the best for guys who are just starting off, and if you're just going to be depositing like $50 or whatever, and you maybe just kind of put like, yeah. So like I said, this is going to be very dependent upon what kind of bettor you are and how far you are into your betting career. The check here, if you want to check, is going to be $100 for the fee itself, and obviously you need to have at least $100 to get that out, and it's going to be about a week to process it. So it's kind of it is what it is. I mean, it's great if you're if you start off with $100 and you end up taking out like $500 or $1,000 or whatever, it's not too bad. But I'm sure you'd still rather not pay that. Anyways, so like I said, that's where we're at as far as bonuses are concerned and payout structures. Odds are another thing. So odds obviously are going to be a little bit different. But one of the most important things with odds is that while they do change and while they are a little bit different from book to book, is how early does a book put out a number. And so Bookmaker is actually a line creator, and I'm sure they work with like William Hill or somebody else that is making these lines. But I will tell you, in my experience and the last few years that I've been doing this, Bookmaker puts out the lines as early as possible. And I'm talking about like Sunday night for NFL stuff. So if you're watching week 1 Sunday night games, they're going to put out the lines for week 2 either super late Sunday night, like midnight or 1 a.m., or right when you're waking up Monday morning. And so that's what I like to do, and that's really what you should be aiming for if you're trying to get the best line as kind of one of the smaller guys. And as you can imagine, once those lines come out, you have these sharp guys, these syndicates that start putting hundreds of thousands of dollars on different lines. And it's not so much that they feel strongly about a line, is that they are trying to move that line in a direction that they want, and that way they can come back at the end of the week and kind of middle it in the other direction. And by doing that, they create this arbitrage where they're basically insuring themselves like 5 to 10% of a gain, but they're insuring 5 to 10% of a gain on hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more. So that's how they do it. And then the general public usually does not come in until like Friday night. Last year I heard a bookmaker say that 70% of the action comes in between Friday night and Sunday morning. So the general public does not come in until like Friday. And that's when they're going to start putting all their money in, and they're going to drastically change these lines one way or the other. And so if a number comes out Sunday night at -3, you want to grab that line right then and there, especially if you're feeling strongly about something, because what's going to happen is by like Wednesday, it's going to move probably to like a -3.5 or maybe even like a -4. And then when the public gets to it, it's really going to move, and it's going to come into like -4, -4.5. And so obviously by grabbing that 3, you get the best number, you get the key number. But let's say it's the other way. Let's say it starts at 6 and it ends at 7. Well, now you can grab both sides and you can middle it. And so not everybody likes doing that, but to have that as an option is definitely a great option. And so bookmaker for me is my first kind of like viewing point, because I want to see that they have the line out. Usually if they don't have the line out, nobody else has it out yet as far as these books are concerned. Aside from timeliness though, they also have a pretty decent structure with like payouts. And one thing that you should be aware of when you're doing payouts is how do they pay out funds and what's the fee for doing things. So I already showed you the ones on Bovada, and like I said, that's definitely more of like the, hey, I'm only putting in a couple bucks. Bookmaker really caters to everybody, but you need to be aware of how you're going to take the money out first. So what I'm showing you right now is their wiring instructions. So they do wires, which is awesome. And I think a lot of people would prefer wires, really more than anything else. But as you can see, the minimum is $7,500. So, this is not going to happen if you're betting, like $10 a game. That being said, though, once you put the $7,500 in there, once you have it to take it out, the fee on this is also quite a bit. It's a $600 fee for a $7,500 withdrawal, which is roughly like 8%. But 8%'s a pretty big number. And remember that while I'm showing you these fees, and all these places have fees, those fees are obviously coming out of your money, but the book already has everything in its favor. And they get to set the lines. They get to pick the time that they set the lines. They get to set their fee structure, their bonus structure, their rollover structure, all that stuff. So when it comes to taking the money out, you don't want to be giving them more money. The margins as a sports bettor, yes, if you're good at it, if you're, over 52% as far as like handicapping is concerned, you can definitely make some money. But you need to be betting enough money and have a big enough bankroll to cover the fees and still come out not just ahead, but ahead enough to make it worth your time and your effort of doing all the research, doing all the study, watching for lines, staying up late, watching the games, looking at injury reports, all that kind of stuff. That stuff, if you're only making $100 and then you're having to pay back like 50 of that for fees just to get your money out, it's not a good process. So the two things I would kind of say on that: one, if you are really serious about betting and you're already strong in your handicapping and you know that you can make some money at this, you need to do a bigger amount. Like $100 a game or more, just to be covering your fees. If you're betting $10 or more or whatever, that's perfectly fine, but basically stick to Bovada just to make sure that you're not paying more than you need to. Now, bookmaker, they do allow checks to go out. So if you do happen to get with them, it's a $250 minimum for a check, and it is a fee there as well. It's a $50 fee for their checks, and that's regardless of withdrawal size. So just $50 for the check. But again, that's going to take some time. It's probably going to take about a week to process, and then it's going to take mailing time. And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize until you actually get a check in the mail is that the check is going to say it's from bookmaker, right? Or that it's from some sort of booking company. And most banks are going to be okay with that, and tellers aren't really going to raise an eyebrow at it unless you're talking about like some big money. But you need to be careful with that because a lot of banks now will do not accept deposits from casinos. So casinos and pornography are very, very like taboo issues within the finance industry. So if you go to take a check to them and you tell them like, oh yeah, this is like casino winnings, some of them will tell you no, and they won't let you cash a check or deposit it. Others will literally close your account. So you need to be very careful with that. And if you can, don't even bring up that it's from a casino. Just, whatever they may think is what they think. Don't say anything about it. Like I said, I'm not telling you to do anything illegal or anything. It's not. But you don't want to cause more of an issue for yourself than you need to. So be aware of that. Bitcoin is it's really the way that all these books want to work. It's easier for them keeping things off the books. It's easier for you to kind of move money in and out. The hardest part about Bitcoin, if you're not already familiar with it, can be like withdrawing actual cash from Bitcoin. So there are Bitcoin ATMs now. If you have used one, great. If you haven't used one, I'm just gonna let you know right now it's a little cumbersome. It's not like a regular ATM where you just go, put your info and get the money out. You gotta give them like a barcode that you use off like your crypto wallet, and then they send you a message, and then you have to put in how much you want, and then they have to like verify it, and it takes like 5 or 10 minutes, or sometimes some places it even takes like an hour or two, and then you come back and they email you another code, and then you put in that code into there, and then it gives you the cash out. So it's a process, and it's one of those things like I said, it's not like an ATM where you're just gonna walk in, get the money out, and leave. If you're doing that and you're planning on taking actual cash out from a Bitcoin account, or at least from some sort of casino, plan on it taking like at least an hour. You don't have to stand there the whole hour, but just know it's not like, oh damn, I have like a date tonight, I'm gonna go grab some cash. Like, no, you probably need to do that in the morning. I think we have covered just about everything, except for maybe some odd shopping, I should say, and possible round robins. So first of all, let's go over the odd shopping, and this should be pretty self-explanatory. But like I started the video off with, the only reason you really want a lot of books is to shop the line. And I think a lot of people say that, whether it's podcasts or YouTube or wherever, you've probably heard that before. The problem is if you are in a spot where you can't, use things like DraftKings and FanDuel and places where it's like totally across the board legal and everything's fine and there's no questioning it, it's a little bit harder to do because these fees just eat everything up. So even if you have let's say you have $1,000 bankroll and you're trying to spread it into 4 books, well, $250 a book is sounds okay, but then there's a fee for depositing, which is anywhere from 5 to 7%, and then there's a fee for withdrawing, which is another 8% or whatever. So it's they're kind of nickel and diming you each and every step of the way. Plus, you then have to win, so it can be kind of hard and not really worth the time to have all these different books. Yes, the numbers you're going to get are great, but the extra 2 or 3 wins that you get throughout the year, or even let's say you get 3 extra wins and 2 extra pushes right throughout the year. If you are betting $100 a game, that's $500 that you got to keep, but you also had to pay, let's see, 5% of each book, so that's about 20% just to deposit it, and then you're going to be paying, let's round it down to 5% for each book on the way out. So you're looking at 40% of whatever your initial bankroll was and your withdrawal amount. So those extra $500, you're gonna have to take that into account. So even if I'm gonna really round it down to 25% is what ended up being paid for fees and all that kind of stuff, processing. You're looking at really more like 400 that you're ish, maybe a little less, that you really saved yourself. Plus the time and hassle of doing everything. So yeah, like I said, you're gonna make the extra money, but be aware you need to have at least probably $1,000 bankroll to do that. So don't open 4 or 5 different books and put $20 in each one. It's just not going to be worth it. But the numbers that you're going to get. So here's the Hall of Fame game. It is tomorrow, August 5th. Bookmaker has it at Cowboys plus 2.5. Bovada has it at Cowboys plus 2 at the plus 115 line on that. And here at the plus 2.5, we had a minus 108. So is it better? Let's take a look. So if you get to just plus 2 with Bookmaker, it's at minus 105, where Bovada, the plus 2, is giving you minus 110. And Bookmaker is going to edge them out by just a few points here. The money line, like I said, the Cowboys are at 115 on the money line. Money line for the Cowboys with Bookmaker is plus 122. So Bookmaker is going to give you the better number there. BetOnline also has the Cowboys at only plus 2 at a minus 105 with a money line of 113. Bookmaker has, again, money line of 122, and the spread at, well, it was minus 108 with Bookmaker. So BetOnline is actually a little bit of a better line with the points, but a little bit less on the money line. So as you can see, that's your point shopping or spread shopping. That's what you'll need to do to make sure you get the best line every step of the way. But like I said, make sure you keep in mind what your bankroll is and really how many books is going to be feasible for you. Last thing here, and this is something that I personally like to check, but it's up to you if you have any desire in placing this kind of bet. And I'm just going to pick 4 lines here at random, and I'm just taking the 4 underdogs. So there we go. So with Bookmaker, you have straight, parlay, and teaser. And we actually should have one more. Okay, so they sort of changed this up on me here since last year. But they do have it from straight. You go to parlay. And down here at the bottom, where it says multiple bets, this is also what we would refer to as a round robin. So one parlay of 4 teams, which is exactly what it sounds like. Just a parlay saying I think these 4 teams are going to win and they're going to cover. 4 parlays of 3 teams. So what does that mean, and what does 6 parlays of 2 teams mean? So what they're referring to is, let's take this bottom one here, for example. Let's say that you wanted to bet $10 parlay on this. So if any 2 teams win, you win something. You would win a $10 parlay of those 2 teams. Now let's say that 3 teams win. So you would win this parlay here. You would win the Dolphins and Jaguars parlay, and then you would win the Saints and Jaguars parlay. So you would win 3 times, and it would be 3 $10 parlays for 2 teams. And then obviously if all 4 teams win, then you win everything. And this number here, the 154.37, is in reference to hitting all 4 of them. So if you win all 4, then this is the amount that you would win. Be aware, this is $10 per parlay or per play. So this is going to be a $60 risk here, a $60 bet. I'll show you here at the bottom. So you're basically risking $60 to win 154. One of the reasons I like to bring this up is because I know a lot of people love playing parlays. I can tell them not to all day, and then it's not good, but they're going to do it. And it's fun to do it, and I mean, I can't blame you, right? Like sometimes I just want to take that long shot. But let's say that you have 4 teams that you like that are favorites, right? And you're just, or maybe you just want to play money lines, and you're like, man, like I try to parlay every week, and I'm always like 1 team off. It's just 1 team that messes me up every week. I can hit 3 out of 4. I can have 5 out of 6. This is that last team. The round robin is your way to go. And the round robin will basically still allow you to win and win more for how many you get right, but it doesn't rule you out for just losing 1 like a regular parlay would. So, and a lot of people are not aware of this, or they're not really aware of what the hell it means when somebody says round robin. That's what it means. So if you're one of these people who loves to play parlays and you're missing it by just those 1 or 2 teams, check out the round robins. Now be aware it's going to obviously cost you more, because you're going to end up, instead of paying $10, you're going to pay $60. But if you are truly just missing it by 1 team, you're going to get some money back. So you should be, hopefully at least breaking even. But realistically, you get that upside of, hey, I could possibly hit this big if I finally get that 1 week where I do get all 4 of my teams in there, or all 6 of my teams in there, or however many you're doing. So you get the upside of hitting all of them, and you get the kind of the hedging portion there, saying like, hey, well, at least, I just need to get 2 right? I just need to get 2 out of my 4 right. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. obviously it's an extra cost, and that's where the casino comes in, and that's why they're allowing you to do that, because they're hoping that you basically get like 0 right or 1 right. And I'm telling you, it will happen if you're doing this every week, especially if you're doing these crazy like 16 parlays or teasers. Eventually, you're gonna have one bad week where you just don't hit any, or you maybe hit like 2. And if you're hitting maybe like 3 teams, but you had 8 different parlays out there, 8 different teams on the parlay, a 3-team hit is not going to pay you anything. You're not getting your money back. So that's one bet to be aware of. And the reason I'm showing it on this video is that not every place allows a round robin. So let me just see if they have it here on BetOnline. And I think that they do. So they do allow the round robin, just not on this particular play here. And I think it's probably because it's preseason. But they do have the section here for it. And I remember vaguely using the round robin with BetOnline. It's been a little while. Like I said, I don't play them very often. I'll play them maybe like once or twice a year. The good side, like I said, the upside is you hit like once on these things and it's going to pay for itself. It's going to pay for the whole year for the most part. So that's what's out there. But when you're opening a book and before you deposit, like when you open it, they'll give you access to their odds, their lines, and their different plays and all that stuff. Before you make the deposit, check and see if they had it around robin, if this is something you're interested in. Well, it's been another long video, guys. Sorry to take up so much time. Hopefully you learned something here. Hopefully maybe this is one of the books that you want to go forward with. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, anything at all regarding your book of choice, whether the book you are currently using or one that maybe I just showed here today, or if you have any questions with like withdrawals or deposits or rollovers or anything, leave it in a comment below. I might not know the answer, but if I do, I'd be happy to help. And if I don't, I can reach out to a few people that might have it. So thank you again. Best of luck to everybody. I will be coming out with some more kind of tips, tricks, as well as some picks. And pretty soon, we'll be getting into not only preseason picks, but also going forward into like week 2 picks and looking at another way of handicapping that's not just purely statistical. So thank you again. Have a great day. Good luck. Stay safe out there.